You don't just stay quiet. Something stops you, right there, in the moment, and it doesn't look like a big deal. You're sitting with people. They're talking, laughing, saying things easily, and you're there with them, nodding, smiling, following the conversation. But there's a point where something shifts. You have something to say, a thought, a reaction, something you don't fully agree with, and for a second it's right there, clear, close. You could say it, but you don't. Something tightens. Your chest pulls in, your throat holds, and instead of speaking, you adjust. You soften it, or you drop it completely. You stay with the smile. You let the moment pass, and no one notices, because on the outside nothing happened, but inside something did. Because what you didn't say doesn't disappear. It stays there, right where you stopped, and most people don't even realize how often that happens. This isn't about you being shy, and it's not that you don't know how to speak. It's not lack of confidence, and it's not that you have nothing to say, because you do. There are moments where you talk easily, where you explain things, where you're clear. So this isn't about not having words. Most people go through this, that exact moment where everything is still normal, but something feels slightly off, like the conversation is moving and you're just a step behind it. They keep going. They respond quickly. They jump from one thing to another, and you're there trying to find the right moment to enter, but it never quite opens. Or when it does, it's already too late. So you adjust. You let it pass. You tell yourself it wasn't that important, that it wouldn't make a difference, and you move on. But something about it stays, because it doesn't really match. You had something clear, and somehow it just didn't come out. It shows up in small, ordinary moments. Someone asks you something simple, and you pause just a second longer than you should. You open your mouth, then close it again. You give a shorter answer than you had in mind. You nod, even when that's not what you meant. You let it go, and then a few seconds later, you think of exactly what you wanted to say. Clear, precise, but the moment is gone. So you stay quiet. You smile. You move the conversation forward like nothing happened. You laugh at something that didn't feel right. You agree just to keep it smooth. You change the subject without noticing, and your body stays slightly tight. Your breathing gets shallow. Your shoulders don't drop. You keep checking if it's the right time to say it, but you don't go back. You don't bring it up again. You leave it there, and it follows you after. On the way home, in the shower, lying in bed, you replay the moment, but this time you say everything, exactly how it should have come out, and it sounds clear, natural, obvious, just not when it actually happened. And something in you knows, this keeps happening. This isn't random. And it's not just that you stay quiet, because if you pay attention, it doesn't happen everywhere. There are moments where you speak, where you say things clearly. So it's not that you can't, it's where you don't. Certain people, certain situations, certain reactions, and you already adjust before anything even happens. You measure, you filter, you remove parts before they even reach the outside. Not because someone stopped you, but because something already knows the cost. What might change? What might come back? What might be seen differently after? So you hold it, and it doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like the only safe version of the moment, but it doesn't disappear. It stays unfinished, and it starts shaping what comes next. How you respond, how you position yourself, how much of you actually shows up. And after a while, you're not just choosing what to say. You're choosing how much of yourself can exist there. And that starts to look normal, like that's just how you are. But it isn't, because if it was you, wouldn't feel it still sitting there after. You wouldn't keep going back to moments that already passed. You wouldn't feel that gap between what happened and what didn't. And if that gap keeps repeating, then maybe the silence wasn't empty. Maybe it was already full of something that didn't get to exist.